if we all ready? Okay, just notice of this meeting was properly posted on March 6th, 2026. And if Commissioner Miles would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Absolutely. Join with me, stand. Salute. Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Sir, can you do roll call? Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, did I leave that out?
Roll call.
Here.
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Present. Thank you. Item number 1 is discussion possible actions to improve the meeting minutes of both January 12th and February 9th.
If there's not any changes, I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
One abstain, please. To adopt a resolution that requires all annual budgets, estimates of needs, contracts, litigation decisions, and interagency fund transfers to be presented and decided by the majority vote of the full authority in open meeting, requested by Miles Davidson.
Yes, sir. This is, for one, you helped clarify before the meeting, contracts are approved by this board except for your ability to sign a contract that is up to the amount of $10,000. Litigation decisions, clearly we would never make any sort of normal executive session discussion. We would just make the action based on our discussions that would be typically revealed in a public meeting. That's what I was trying to say there with the litigation decision. Interagency fund transfer, according to the attorney, could open us up on a personal level for liability. So I think the contracts we can remove because we are already doing that. The one clarification I would like to make on the contracts is we have renegotiated some of those recently for savings for the trust. I would love for those to be brought up here, and we need to have those approved anytime that we do any sort of contractual stuff. Litigation decision, I can remove that, but the annual budget and estimate of needs, as statute requires, we need to have those presented to us before we send over to Budget Board and BET for their examination. So with that, if there's any questions, anybody has any questions for reasoning or anything?
Just curious, if you send it over to the BET for approval, and let's say that
Well, I would come back here, and if there's something that they don't like, we can make those changes here. You know, Tim and his team are going to be presenting, and they can discuss those changes not only with BET and everything, but then they can bring them back here, and we can kick them back. So typically, with the budgeting process for the county, if the sheriff presents his budget and BET says, you know, there's something in that budget that, you know, we need to cut for the year or move it to the watch list, we do that. We make that adjustment there, and then he has to re-sign. Once they make that change to their estimate of needs, he has to re-sign that estimate of needs and send it back in. So it's normal in the process that we sit there and we change people's budgets and sign again and everything. So that would just be a normal aspect of submitting that budget. So with that, I'll make a motion that
May I ask
Yeah.
a question?
Yeah.
So the interagency fund transfers,
yeah, and that's what I was talking about. The attorney thinks that opens us up.
are we striking
We can
that?
strike that. You know,
Okay, that's what I was trying to
if that's
stop you before you made the motion. Sorry.
I mean, unless people want to keep that in there and discuss the liability aspect. personal liability, then that's something that we can do. You can ask the attorney, but I think the personal liability issue of it, I think everybody would probably like to do it up. So with that, I'd make a budget or a motion to ensure that the annual budget and the estimate of needs, the contracts stay the way that it is. And then again, with the litigation decision, there's actually an item later on the agenda to address a concern that actually brought that up. So with the striking of litigation contracts and interagency, or with the discussion of striking litigation and interagency fund transfers, I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
That's basically just to bring the budgets to the board as statutorily required, and to keep your chairman's authority at $10,000 for contracts annually.
We have a second? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Okay, move on to number 3. Receive and accept and discuss report by Jail Administrator Mr. Tim Kimmery and/or those persons designated by him regarding operation of and movements for the Oklahoma County Detention Center.
Good afternoon, Trust Board. I apologize in advance. We got a few more slides than we generally have. So just please bear with us. Mr. Bucks, good to see you again. Welcome back. This operational update, we're going to talk a little bit about cost-saving measures, facility searches, or medical staffing, and I've asked Sarah to be here today to come up and address some of the medical questions that have been posed recently. I think she's in a little bit better position to answer some of these. Of course, our resident statistics. So our first slide here is some recommendations that we're making to the Trust Board. This is some cost reduction strategies that we've been going over here lately. This is obviously to reduce our operating costs while maintaining inmate operations the best that we can. We're focusing on personnel costs, operational efficiencies, obviously contract reductions, and asset liquidation. So right now, what I did was I postponed, canceled all of our overtime hours, have now been converted into comp time, compensatory time. So that will, I can't tell you exactly how much it'll save us, but for the last 2 months, we spent over almost $290,000 in overtime for the last 2 months. So that has been canceled, and all of our detention officers and other personnel will now be getting comp time. Currently, we, as part of our hiring package, we give employees a complimentary meal once a day. That runs us about $43,000 a month. So we've also canceled that. All training, conferences, travel, and registration fees are canceled pending approval from the board. Now, as far as operational cost reductions that we're looking at, we've done some modification on our inmate food delivery system, which will save us, it'll save us more time than anything. Instead of doing, when we do a cold, hot, we're now going to hot, cold. That means, and also I think it's kind of like we were taught, parents taught us that the most important meal of the day is breakfast. So we've now are giving them a hot breakfast. Their caloric intake was around 2,500. We've upped that to 3,000. So I think that'll be a little bit better for them, and we've changed up the menu a little bit. We've also, as far as reordering any type of damaged inmate or employee uniforms, detention officer equipment, we've put that on hold. We're going to use what we have in-house until we just absolutely can't use it anymore. That's going to save us anywhere between $8,000 and $10,000 a month. The next slide, which is the big one, is our contract reduction recommendations. I want to go ahead and recommend that we issue a 30-day notice to terminate the VHS contract. These are site checkers. that come in and help us out. There's approximately 30 positions right now. That's costing us $168,000 per month. The second item there is also recommend a 30-day notice be given to Total Medical Contract and that's our medical staffing agency. We brought them on several months ago to help support our medical ring, our clinic upstairs, and so that runs us about $80,000 per month. The next slide is asset liquidation. We're looking to sell all unused, outdated, broken, or surplus furniture. All the unused are IT equipment that we can no longer use. It's outdated. We have some fitness equipment that was purchased a couple of years ago for people to exercise and do those things. We're probably going to get rid of that. And, obviously our goal is a one-time revenue and reduce storage and maintenance costs, which will generate some additional cost-saving measures. Okay, now into the meat of the presentation. Here's our average daily population. As of today, we had 1,442 inmates. We had 109 JNSs. Now, our JNSs have gone up just a little bit. I was happy when they were down in double digits. That's kind of what we were looking at. We try to keep them in the double digits. However, DOC contacted us. They are running into some issues and are a little bit backed up, and they asked us if we could only do one trip a week. So the amount of folks that we're getting out there has dropped a little bit. So that's why there's a little bit of a spike in our JNSs. Also, if you'll look down at the bottom left, our average daily book-in 68.45. That's up. There's an uptick in those numbers, and one of the reasons why is Oklahoma City's graduated their recent academy, which I think is the largest they've had. So you got a lot of young police officers out there that are kind of gung ho and eager to show their what they can do. So our numbers have obviously gone up in that regard. Our current, I want to put this in here. I know it's usually not in here. I want to put this slide in here. Our current employee count, we have 342 folks. That does include 51 of those 342 are medical staff. Our next slide, a commissary update. We've been in talks with some other jails around the country here in Oklahoma. Talked to my good friend up at Tulsa County, under sheriff up there, and kind of got some ideas on what their e-cigarettes are doing. So we're going to add those to the commissary based off of what they've told us and other folks have told us. Using our current population, we're hoping that that'll generate somewhere around $750,000 to $1 million a year. The OCDC Detention Officer Academy, as you recall, we had to postpone that due to lack of folks that was there. We had dropped down to about 6 people, so we postponed it. We took those 6 people, we put them through other areas throughout the jail, and they'll be rejoining the academy on April 6th. We had a good turnout application-wise this last go around, and I want to I know no one's in here from DOC, but I just want to thank the Department of Corrections for allowing us to go over to their place and use their gymnasium to do our PT test because we had some inclement weather. So thanks to DOC, they've been very kind and generous in helping us out any way that they can. Criminal Investigation Division, we had 30 new cases open. We filed 19 charges. We had 15 cases that were closed. Just this weekend, we had one of our front desk clerks was assaulted. We had a gentleman come in and caused some problem at the front. There was a scuffle. I think there was some trash cans thrown around and some other furniture. We finally got him under control, but that was at our front desk there at the jail, the front lobby of the jail. So we've been looking at that. We've had several instances here lately of some disturbances at the front. So from a security standpoint, looking at that to see what we may have to place a detention officer up there full time at a desk, kind of like the way they used to do back when the sheriff was over there. So we're looking at that, maybe changing that up a little bit. And of course, I've had our criminal investigation division have been assisting in conducting our facility-wide contraband searches. I've now requested that they do that every day. Every day we're doing cell searches, and it has really paid big dividends for us. As you can see in this next slide, some of the things that they produce, probably the most important thing are these shanks that we're recovering. This represents I don't want to really take this from the movie, but a very clear and present danger to our detention officers. This is serious right here, folks. This will kill you and certainly end you in a serious, serious way. So I'm really appreciative and proud of our special cell team that's been going up there and seizing these weapons, drugs, and other contraband. We've had several detention officers assaulted. This here is Detention Officer Caballero. You notice he was struck pretty good in the face. He is going to require surgery to repair his pretty serious fractured nose. It looks a lot worse today than what it did the day that it happened. And charges have been filed on both. We had two. The other one I didn't put in here, but for this particular detention officers, charges have been filed against the person that did that. And our next slide is medical vision. At this time, I'm going to ask Sarah to come up and go over a few things with you guys. Thank you, ma'am.
He's a little bit taller than I am, so I'm going to lower that down. I've had the pleasure of meeting a couple of you all. My name's Sarah. I'm a provider over at the Oklahoma County Detention Center, but I'm also the healthcare administrator as well. So, as far as medical goes, we have been doing really well with Narcan. As you can see, the comparison from last year to this year, the ones administered by medical, we have significantly reduced those. With staffing, we do have some total medical people that are still contracted with us. We are really trying to phase them out and hire them on for core. Several of those total medical people do want to come on full time with us, which is fantastic. So that's 7 more core employees that we'll be able to hire. As far as the ER sendouts, those are just basic information. Not much more to go off there. Okay, I'm really excited about this. I've been in conversation with a psychiatrist from OU Medical Center. He's one of their only forensic psychiatrists. I'm looking at trying to bring him on board to make sure that we can have some oversight and to be able to work with our mental health and psych teams. Also collaborating, hopefully in the future, with the Department of Mental Health more than what we are right now, with him also being involved with the Department of Mental Health and being able to get a forensic residency set up with Oklahoma County Detention Center. So that would be huge to be able to have some residents be able to come in there and service our individuals. We are also working on collaborating care for those that are outside. So when patients are discharged, we are trying to work on getting them services outside the facility. So whether that's mental health services, whether that's addiction services, or just housing. We had an interview with a patient earlier this week with the Magdalene House. She was not accepted, but we were able to at least get her an interview and hopefully be able to work on that continuity of care, which we have not seen in quite some time. So we did make some changes since I've come on in October. We were able to decrease missing medication passes with hiring some more med passers. Now we have 5 on each shift. We have not had any missed med passes since December of 21st, which before we were having at least 3 or 4 a week. So I think that's a huge accomplishment there. We've also reduced hoarding of medications with being able to pop directly out of the med carts. So I don't know if you guys have been over there whenever they've been doing med pass, but our nurses or med passers will go to each cell and they'll pop directly from the cart, whereas before they were taking 4, 5, 6 hours to pre-pop medications, which according to Title 310 we should not be doing. So it's actually safer for the patient, and we've been able to decrease hoarding of medications that way. It's also reducing our cost savings as well. Let me see, I've got an estimate here. So our cost savings with that is about $52,800 a year, and that's a low approximate. So we've been able to have some really good cost savings with reducing the waste that was occurring with the medications. Another big thing is the sick calls. We were doing sick calls 5 days a week previously. I changed that to where we're doing it 7 days a week, so people are actually getting seen a lot faster. So typically within a 24 to 48 hour period, they'll place their sick calls on NCIC, which is our computer system, either versus paper or on the computer, and then the nurses will go down and assess them and address that as appropriate. Another thing we've been able to do is, thankfully to Amanda, who's our case manager over there, we've been able to organize offsite medical. Before, we were having some issues where people were, let's just say the previous administration, we had broken some of the relationships with the hospitals and specialty services outside of the jail. So if I send someone out and they need a cardiology consult, now we can actually get them into cardiology, or maternal fetal medicine for our high risk pregnancy patients. We're actually able to do that now. So I'm very grateful for that. As you can see, and I'll highlight more of this tomorrow with the budget board, but we have had an increase in the medical savings, and this is just an average estimate based off of all the savings that we have. So it's a pretty significant savings that we've been able to accomplish with just simple things, just like I said with the MedPass. That was just one example. I did want to highlight our dental services. Our dentist has done a phenomenal job seeing patients, and I apologize on here. He's not just doing like dental cleaning, so he's actually doing some cosmetic procedures, so it actually helps the patients feel better. If you think about it, if they have the opportunity to get a job, you know, having your teeth fixed, this helps. So he's done a phenomenal job. As you can see his statistics there. I just want to say thank you to him. Previously in 2025, we had only 44 tasks that were completed, and he's completing over 170 consistently. Any concerns or questions? Great, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I want to talk, one thing that I think a lot of times we overlook is the death in custody. It's one thing that I wanted to really focus on when I was asked to step in this position. There are three main bullets up there, three main points. And since 2022, 21, 22, and that was kind of the peak pandemic years, the deaths have been cut nearly in half since that time. If you look over the last 3 years, there's been a consistent stabilization. We've had about 7 to 8 deaths annually compared to with 16 that we had in prior years. Now, again, I know this isn't wood, but it'll have to serve its purpose. We've been very, very lucky. And like I said, every morning I get up, I pray that we don't have someone that has an issue in the jail that costs them their life. We've had one death in the last 8 months, and it's probably the lowest that we've ever had since the trust has been in charge of the jail. Since 1997, just for its statistical update here, the jail has basically averaged 6.2 deaths per year. So our death rates are dropping. One is one too many as far as we're concerned, and I've made it very clear to the staff and to medical that that's what we're focused on. First and foremost is keeping people alive in that jail, and I think they've done a really good job. Okay, our current population statistics. I know Trust Board Member Scobie wanted this back in, so we put this back in for him. As you can see, we have 44% of folks that are brought in. There he is. So 44% are black, and followed by 39% white. And of course, you can see Native American, Hispanic, so on. But obviously, the two main, or the top three, is black, white, and Hispanic that are brought in. And since you just showed up, Derek, let me say one thing I wanted to do before I started was, and was to offer an explanation and actually an apology to you, Mr. Scobie. And that was the information that was given at the BET several weeks ago was incorrect. And I was not happy that your name was in there, and I've taken steps to make sure that that doesn't happen again. My point that we were trying to make, however, was that our budget has gone down because some of the things we have done, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just trying to explain to the budget board that the trust voted on reducing our phone calls. Because of that, that cost us some money. And I know there was a question from one of the BET members that says, well, looks like you made more money. Well, you got to remember, because of that lowering of the phone calls, we reduced our budget down to meet that. And so overall, it still costs us some money. I know we voted on it. I wasn't saying it was a bad thing. I was just saying it reduced our budget. So again, Pastor, I offer my apologies that for that mistake and that error, and hopefully it won't happen again.
Well, since you just brought it up, and my apologies for all for just walking in, if you, for the record, would give clarity as to what was incorrect, because that's not what we.
Well, the incorrect information was the fact that you did not make the motion. Okay, you did not make a motion.
The motion for
to lower the cell phone rates. But it was discussed, and you did advocate for it. We voted on it. You voted on it, and you know, y'all are our bosses, and we followed through for it, and we adjusted accordingly. Again, I was merely trying to explain why that was one reason why our budget had come down some, was because of that. So again, I did not like the fact that your name was in there, and I made it very clear when we got back to the office. So again, I apologize for that. All right, continuing. These are the agencies arrest by race that you requested. So this is for FY26. So far, this is all agencies. The total, as you can see there, there's been 6,472 white, 6,316 have been black, and then Hispanic, Native American, Asian, and so on. Now, this is Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City PD arrest by race, as you can see, for white is 3,875, for black is 4,332. Now, this is Edmond Police Department. They had a total of 305 white and 147 black. This is so far, again, for FY26. So Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office, they've had 926 that were white, 697 that were black. Okay, OCPD February bookings, they had 1,271. Out of 518, 481 was released in under 10 hours, and 36 of them had a greater release time than 10 hours, obviously due to further appearance for a judge. I do know I did get one kudo from one of our bail bonds folks that actually sent a text and said we got one of their people was out of the jail within 4 hours. So we appreciate them letting us know that we're trying to do a little bit better job. Okay, the top 5 arresting agencies, again, is Oklahoma City Police Department, followed by Oklahoma County Sheriff's, OHP, Edmond PD, and Midwest City Police Department, respectively. Okay, the first 8 months of FY26, you can see that the total amount, the $15,425, that's pretty much of a top number for us since the trust has been here. I'm not sure why, because again, we don't arrest people. We have no control over who law enforcement agencies bring into the jail. But we are kind of up quite a bit, about 1,200 folks or more for 2026 as opposed to what we are for 2025. Our current population charges, that's pretty much the same. We've got 138 folks in there for murder, 17 for manslaughter, 123 of those are male, 17 are female. We've had 1,513 criminal felonies and 948 misdemeanors, criminal misdemeanors. Our special housing classification, our daily averages there, as you can see, we're up just a little bit. Those that are in protective custody, we're averaging about 204. Our MHO, mental health observation, we're averaging about 315. And our JNS's sentenced inmates are about 92 average per day. That is down from January, but like I said at the beginning, we're up just a little bit to 103 than what we were. Okay, our resident welfare programs, we've kind of been on a pause, about a 30-day pause while we were doing some of these because we were a little short-staffed. We were using some of our program folks to assist in our cell searches. So I worked with all of our program folks, and they were very nice and understanding what we needed to do. But we're going to start resuming them this month, get back on track. I know we have several that we started what we call a mini academy today, and that's for everybody that comes into the jail that's non-detention officer, so that we can get the required jail standards hours in. And those are 24 hours, so I've got to get them training, 24 hours of training before they can get up and get to work in our program. So they started that today. And that's all I have pending any questions.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Could we go back to the slide where we're showing weapons that were confiscated?
Yes, sir.
You've got notes written here, I mean, copies or pictures of notes, and I think that might be worth. Why is that included?
These notes are taken, generally what they have, it usually has some type of criminal activity associated with it, whether it is intent to establish some type of contraband system to sell inside the jail. Also, sometimes these pieces of paper will have Venmo and Cash App numbers and information, because they do a lot of the transactions on Venmo and Cash App. And two, some of them just list whatever their nefarious criminal activity that they want to get engaged in. So they write a lot of this stuff down because they can't remember. A lot of times they can't remember names and things like that, or what floor, what cell that someone might be in. So it's generally information that's associated with some type of criminal activity.
Thank you. And the reason I was asking about that is my concern is, as we've doing some of these personnel cost savings, what do you believe you're going to be able to handle that with your investigative team to maintain the standards you've already set?
Well, anytime you cut,
they're the best standards that have been around since the trust fund existed.
Well, I appreciate that, but the main issue is that obviously anytime you cut staff, especially detention officers, or any type of service, as far as I'm concerned, in the jail, that there's an opportunity. I'm not saying it will happen. I hope it doesn't, but there's an opportunity for bad things to happen. And we are trying to work through the issues and logistics and figure out how we can maybe do better with less. But I just want, that's a good question. I just want everybody to know that when we start these reductions, it could have dire consequences. Again, I hope it doesn't, but it's there.
Thank you. We all hope that.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments?
I just wanted to say thank you to you and your staff. I mean, clearly, the numbers speak for themselves. The fiscal responsibility speaks for itself. Seeing the, projected budget coming in lower than, what we thought it was going to be for the shortfall. So thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
I did have another question. For the programs to resume this month, the volunteers that are coming in for training, I had a couple of organizations reach out to me about wanting to be involved and how can they get involved in this training? Is that something you're able to comment on?
Yeah, just have them contact me and we'll see if we can't work them in. I mean, what type of, are they with an organization?
Yeah, they're with an organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Give them my contact information or I'll reach out, however you want to do it. I'll
Okay.
get you the information and we'll take a look at it, see if
Great,
we can't
thanks.
fit it in.
How often are these trainings going to be happening? Are they once a month or once a quarter?
It just kind of depends on how many people that
Interest.
we have, yeah, just
Okay.
based off the numbers.
Okay, great, thanks.
Any other comments?
Yes. First, let me go on record for the Commissioner One's office. I had received an email March 3rd asking could we move the meeting to 2:30 p.m. I immediately responded back and said yes. So I was under the impression it started at 2:30 today. I don't make excuses. I'm just letting it be known. But there was a follow-up email that I didn't pay attention to that said that it was okay. All right. Thank you. So this is I'm sharing this with you at the lectern. It's not directed towards you, but it is all kind of centered around the report that was given because we can ask things about what was in the report and then what was not in the report as to why. And y'all gonna have to just bear with me for just a little bit. So Ms. Chair, before I proceed, I have a parliamentary request because these statements that I'm gonna make today, they're not directed towards you personally, not to you at all, but as it relates to your capacity as chair. So out of the respect and integrity of this process, I would just ask that you would momentarily yield your chair to the vice chair and join the administrator at the lectern, because really the statements and questions that I would like to ask, really it would be to both of you, but that can be a request. Now you can deny it.
I'm going to deny that.
Okay, I will proceed. So several months ago, this board voted to indefinitely pause staff raises. It was properly motioned, it was properly seconded, and it passed with only one dissenting vote. And today, we are sitting here in this very room looking at a projection of a $5 million projected shortfall, but it could be less, okay? But yet, those raises, they went forward anyway. Chair, you cast the one no vote, and then you went outside of this chamber and authorized the very thing this board voted against. And then administrator, you executed it. Maybe both of you together.
Mr. Wilson,
Sign.
that's incorrect.
Okay. Well, okay, but let me finish, and then that's why I'd ask if you would be there. But both of you need to understand this clearly. The administrator of this jail serves under the authority of this board, not under the authority of one member of the board, not even the chair. The board's vote is not a suggestion. It's not a recommendation. It is a governing decision, and it was ignored. What occurred
Is
here?
incorrect.
Okay, well then I'm gonna go on.
Well, you keep making statements. If you're going to make statements that aren't correct, we should address that.
Well, I mean, the statements go in the newspaper that was incorrect as it relates to me, but, so now if you want to, okay. That's why I'd ask you if you would come down here, because I don't want to do, this is kind of crosstalk because it's directed toward the elected. But I guess my question is, did or did not this board say that we were going to indefinitely put a pause in place as it relates to there being any raises given to the staff? Is that?
That was addressed, that was addressed earlier in the meeting when we corrected the minutes. We did, but we made no raises after that vote. So the whole premise of that is a waste of our time.
You made no raises after the vote?
No. Period. No.
So what was done with the email?
Nothing.
No raises were given?
There were raises that were given before that vote, but not afterwards.
Was there a letter that went out? Because I was made aware of a letter, and also in BET, it was suggested that the raises are identified in the budget. Is any member of BET here that can speak on that?
Right. So my understanding of the raised question.
Just state your name for the record, please.
Yeah, Joe Blouch, Blouch. I'm currently the first deputy for Commissioner Jason Lowe and a member of the BET. So with respect to the raised question, there was a line of questioning in BT regarding raises that were given on the February payroll. Pay cycle begins 1/21, okay? The answer that was given was a couple. Upon further examination of the February payroll change sheet submitted by the jail, there were approximately 100 raises. Some promotions, others were just straight raises, okay? My understanding of the decision that this body made was you voted, I think it was January 10th, not to give raises. The raises appeared subsequent to the vote of this board, if I'm reading the information I was provided from your own staff correctly. So it appears that raises were given subsequent to the vote to postpone.
So I'll proceed. What occurred here is not a policy disagreement. It is not an administrative gray area. It is a unilateral override of a democratically constituted board vote by the very person who lost that vote. And I'm not going to just sit here in this seat and act like that it did not happen. It is unacceptable. I have questions. I need answers, but it's not just me, and I need them on the record. Question one, under what specific legal authority did you override the vote of this board?
I did not override the board, so therefore I have no answer to that question.
Okay. So Commissioner Lowe's office, we would like to ask you to come back up. Thank you. It was stated, could you state that again so he can respond?
I did not override the vote.
Based upon the information, you're asking about the raises and the
Yes.
line of questioning in BT? Yes. Based upon the information provided to us by the jail staff and the line of questioning regarding raises given in February, the first answer was a couple. There was a further line of questioning as to what a couple actually was. I'm from Oklahoma, so a couple could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, typically not 100. The payroll report indicates a large number of raises beginning for the February payroll cycle. That payroll cycle begins 1/21 and runs through the 20th of the following month. So January payroll began 1/21, or February payroll began 1/21 and ended February the 20th. On the payroll change sheet that was provided to us, it indicated several raises among the 100 from taking detention officers from, I think it was 41,000 to 47,000 or more dollars. I had my staff, because I had thought this board had voted to postpone raise, go and review the minutes. Initially, the minutes indicated that the board had approved. However, upon reviewing the video of the meeting, that was incorrect. You've subsequently corrected the minutes today to indicate that no, you in fact did vote to postpone all raises. I can only tell you what I read in the information submitted to the county clerk's office regarding payroll that was provided to me and in part provided by your own staff.
Well, could you make that statement again? So just that statement that
I
you.
made it enough.
What,
It's in the record. You've heard it. What has not been discussed is when the raises that began in the February pay were announced, and it was previous to that meeting, which makes this whole discussion a waste of time.
Doesn't sound like it per District One.
Well, you're
office.
welcome to your opinion, sir.
No, I'm not. It's not my opinion. So I
So
get.
my understanding of the minutes that you corrected today to reflect that raises were actually not authorized was that vote occurred, I believe it was January the 10th. Is that 12th? Apologize, January 12th.
So the raises were not authorized by this board.
I can only tell you that the minutes reflect that you all voted to postpone all raises indefinitely on January the 12th, and on the payroll change for for February of this year, there were over 100 raises
So subsequent.
of varying types.
Yeah. Respectively, would you mind sitting on the front row so you don't have to come so far? So with that, it was definitely the votes. I mean, not the votes, but the raises were done subsequent to that. So I don't know what, and even if the raises were given before, and then we voted on a pay raise or not subsequent to that, if you all unilaterally can just give pay raises, the administrator and yourself, there would have been no reason to bring that to this board for a vote. So, I mean, any way you slice it, something is wrong with that. So if raises are given, then this board needs to know about it. And with that, we knew about the desire for it, but we never was able to say no because it went and it happened anyway. So I guess then also was legal counsel consulted before you proceeded to give these raises?
Yeah, I'm not gonna make a comment on that. I think that'll waive our attorney-client privilege if I do that.
Attorney-client privilege. We are. This is the board. This is the jail trust.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not an attorney-client privilege when we're talking about the jail. So does the DA office, do they represent you personally?
No.
Okay, well then therefore, this would be between the jail trust and the DA's office. There's not any attorney-client privilege as it relates to that.
I don't mind answering the question.
Okay.
No.
Okay, you didn't. Okay. All right. So with that, so this was done privately between you and then the board chair, Jim Holman.
No, that's not correct.
No, I'm asking, what do you mean it's not? Well, tell me what is correct.
I said no.
What is correct? What transpired?
The answer to your question is no.
Did you authorize the
No.
raises? You didn't?
No.
You didn't authorize. So they just kind of fell out of the sky. Like it just fell out of the sky with a pen to authorize raises, and you didn't authorize it. Did the board chair, did you authorize them? Lord have mercy. This is the world we live in. This is the world we live in, and this stuff has become permissible from all the way at the top of this country down. You can just play all these kind of games. So if you didn't authorize them, you didn't. So then these raises are null and void, and that needs to go away quick, fast, and here. Because the raises were not authorized by anybody.
You know what I will say, and I don't speak as eloquently as the pastor.
I'm just reading what I wrote.
But I can understand the situation you're in, where you want and you believe, and they actually do deserve to be paid more. I 100% get it because I fight for my men and women every day, and I believe that. But unfortunately, in the situation we're in, as we see it financially speaking, we are forced within the county to operate within the confines of our own budgets. And it's not that we don't want the raises given, or not that they're not certainly owed and earned, but at the time we couldn't offer them simply because of the reports that were provided to us about the shortfalls and where we were landing financially. And I'm a big believer in this. There's not one person bigger than the organization. Myself at the sheriff's office, even though I'm the sheriff, I'm not bigger than that organization. Not one person is. And so one person can't make the decision and go against an entire organization. Exactly what I felt was done with that vote. I believe it was, insubordination, to be quite frank.
Yeah, that's incorrect, Sheriff.
So if you didn't authorize them and you didn't who authorized them?
I did not authorize, I made a recommendation to the chairman.
And the chairman then,
I said it made sense, but I didn't know.
so he made a recommendation and you said the recommendation made sense?
But let me ask one.
Well, no. I'm sorry. Ashley, she's asking the question, so let me back up, and I'd ask you to back up.
Because I echo what you say. Everybody wants a raise, especially at those wages. We understand that it's important to pay them what they're worth. It's a hard job, all of those things. We don't have the money. You made the recommendation after we voted against it.
No. it's not
Before
correct.
we-
Before, yes.
Okay, you made the recommendation. We voted against it as a body.
The recommendation, the discussion was in December. It was before Christmas.
I recall the vote happening and that it did not pass. Is that correct?
Yes.
The future, we haven't done anything since that.
So it was,
Joe said something different than that,
I
Ashley.
think he's referring to a pay cycle, not from when the information was communicated.
I think you are referring to that this detention center has been fiscally responsible, what you said about 17 minutes ago, and that is, all due respect to you, it's a crock. Yes, but okay.
It didn't.
It wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, I guess if we need to ask Joe to come back up again because he clearly communicated. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask the deputy chief to come and speak on behalf of it at the lectern, John Pettis.
Thank you, Pastor. If you would, unfortunately, just like Pastor Scobie, I do have sermons prepared, but I'm not going to give those sermons. Again, the meeting happened in January. What Pastor Scobie recalled did happen, what our staff member for District 1 recalled did happen in January. Thank you, Pastor Scobie.
Go, Ashley. All right. So let me tell you why this matters beyond this room. So, County Commissioner Jason Lowe has a town hall meeting scheduled at the Ebenezer Baptist Church later this month, a church that I pastor. The community is already coming to me with a lot of questions. Parenthetical pause. Is anyone around this horseshoe received any type of phone call, text message, inbox through Facebook, asking about their loved one being in the county detention center and not being able to get their medication, their prescriptions? Does anybody get this like on a month-to-month basis? Okay. Well, I've had 5 this month, and it's pretty consistent, meaning I'm the guy that gets bashed upside the head, okay? Because I mean, they don't know really, all due respect, they don't know where to find you all. They don't have your phone number. They have mine. They can find it easily. So people are coming to me already with these questions. So the question I keep hearing is, why does Oklahoma County Jail Trust even exist if the board can vote and then the chair and the administrator can simply override the vote? This is what they're asking me, legitimate questions. So I don't have a satisfactory answer to give them. Nice. I mean, really, especially, I'm blown away. And I know that you're going to take this as humorous, and it's not to me, but maybe it is. I mean, maybe Casper the Friendly Ghost came and signed and authorized it because you didn't. So, I mean, maybe Casper did. So with that, I just know that the community, the residents of Oklahoma County, they certainly deserve to have an answer to this. So I'm just standing up. I'm going on record demanding accountability, which obviously I'm not going to get that. But the people of Oklahoma County, they deserve a jail trust that actually governs. Or this jail trust, it needs to be disbanded. I mean, totally. I mean, especially if all we're here is just sitting here as puppets. But I'm a puppet that wouldn't be moving, and you all need my fellow trust members. So if we're sitting here and we're doing all this month to month, I got a pretty busy schedule. I'm sure you all do as well. If we're doing this and then you all can just go do whatever you want to do, then I mean, why even come? I mean, why even show up? It might be better not to show up and then there's no quorum, so no decisions can be made. But when we have a deficit, listen, I want every single one of the staff members to get a raise. I'm sure every single one of them deserve it. Certainly every single position. Hold on. I want them every position to get a raise, but not a raise when we're looking at a potential $5 million shortfall. I mean, and what baffles me is the presumption that I can make. Well, voter records, like you can look at voter records pretty easily. You know what side of the aisle people are on. So as I look at the voter records, every one of the voter records that I look at, the party affiliation, they don't hold to going in debt the way we're going in debt. I mean, really, I'm not going to say far, but I'll just say right-wing conservatives that don't tolerate this. But for whatever reason, we're tolerating it as it relates to the Oklahoma County Detention Center. And I'm out because that is where I'm conservative. I don't think that you should just spend money and you don't have money. It should not happen. So with that, I'm disappointed beyond measure. And I will say, I'm disappointed in our board chair, Jim Holman. I'm disappointed in you, the administrator, Tim Kimray.
I'm disappointed that this hasn't been properly funded. When was you told that it would be $5.8 million short?
It doesn't matter if it was
no, of course it doesn't matter. But that's the jigsaw thing, right?
I mean, that's
it
what
doesn't matter. But you was actually told back in June of last year that the jail will be $5.8 million short.
Yeah. How much will it be short?
It's going to be less than $5.8 million because we've made the cuts, and we're going to drop it probably $1.5 million.
We're going to be
so you're telling me we're
$1.5
million less than what the 5.8 is. We've saved uncountless lives. We've made progress like you can't believe. And
I can't believe it.
So you really don't care about the inmates over there, do you?
Don't go there.
Yeah,
don't go there. $4.3 million now shortfall. $4.3 million based on what you're saying.
Yeah,
now.
It was 5.8, and we've whittled it down.
Then why are we going to then give? See, you know what?
I'm trying to keep people employed.
It does not matter. It does not
matter. To take care of the inmates.
It doesn't matter if it was $100 pay raise and the board voted against it. See it
was done prior to the January 12th meeting.
They've already spoken against that. They've already spoken against that.
Excuse me, Pastor Scobie, if you will give me a few minutes, I do have a letter that was given from Mr. Holman to the budget board members that's dated February the 5th that states towards the end of the letter that he approved the pay raises.
I have it in my email right here, but it may be good for you to go ahead and read it so all the people that want to hit us, they'll know.
So if you give me 5 minutes, I will bring the printed copy.
Thank you. I just want to take a breath. I just want to take one breath. All of us just need to take one breath. Everybody up here, everybody out there, a lot of people in this community care about the residents at the detention center. We are not up here because we don't care. You are not here because you don't care. We all really value our residents, our staff. He is in a hard position. This is a hard job. You have made improvements. We did not approve those raises. You brought it to us. We did not approve it. There is accountability to be had. If you were the one to approve the raises, I think you should answer to that.
If I wrote a letter that said I approved it, then I would say, I'll answer to that. But as far as it being an idea that I did, all I did was agree, based on the savings, that we could redistribute money for the common good and the better good of what we're doing. You don't get death reductions. You don't get the things that have, the litany of things that were in the administrator's report. Those things don't happen by accident. And if we, since the motion that was made to Commissioner Davidson's this morning, it to me changed our position as a trust. There is a propensity to want to micromanage everything. And if that's the direction we're going to go, then I'll comply with that. But prior to that, the indenture says that we are to hold the administrator accountable, and that to me, no different than companies I've run in the past. You report to a board of directors, but it gives you the leeway to make audibles as you go down the road. And if you save some money here and apply it here to enhance safety, stop turnover, enhances safety, all these things. The interesting thing to me is, and I'll put on my taxpayer hat for a second, the interesting thing for me is that all these politics with a hidden agenda that hasn't been stated yet, but it's very alive. The interesting thing about politics to me is, as a taxpayer, I don't think we're being treated well. Anytime that we put inmates at risk, we create the opportunity for lawsuits, and those opportunities get put on the books if we lose or settle, and it's sort of like the accountability goes away. A jail gets blamed for every lawsuit that happens, and we're just now litigating things that happened in 2020 and 2021. So are we going to put that kind of legacy on the future, mortgage the future of the next group? That's the counter to this. Now, you want to pick on whether raises were approved or authorized or not. Henceforth, if nothing else, based on what Miles, item 2 on our agenda today, we've changed that dynamic. But prior to that, the jail administrator had the authority to operate the jail. We hold him accountable. But if we're going to make every call that is made, then it's a different environment and not the one that I signed up for.
I think it's unfair to say that we are micromanaging when that was a decision that was brought to us and we said no. We did not go to his office and ask for a paper with all of his decisions for the day and tell him yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. That was a decision made as the board for his recommendation brought to us. It is unfair to characterize it as micromanaging. You're doing a great job. You have made great improvements. We do not want to micromanage you. We want you to do your job well. We want our decisions as a board to be respected. That can be a decision or discussion we have later on about how we move forward with your recommendations and our approval of those recommendations. It is all of our understanding that that was not an approved decision, and let that be that. We don't want to micromanage him. I don't want to micromanage you. I don't want you coming to my job and micromanaging me. I don't want any board micromanaging me. I want you to do your job. You know better than the rest of us. That is not what we're insinuating. We want our decisions to be respected. Otherwise, why are we up here? And I think that's fair to be said. Can we move on?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and yeah, I really thank you for all that you've shared, and it's going to take me a moment to to move on. But here it is, I do care about the detainees. And that's first and foremost. Let me go all the way up to the budget board. The budget board may have heard me in public talk about this, but let me clearly communicate to them. You all do not have the money to give the jail any more money. I know that. I have good enough sense to know it. I get criticized, why don't y'all get more money from the county? And I let it be known, and I'm sure I'm off on these numbers. I say, well, we have about 136 million as a county, because I'm a resident of Oklahoma County. And then about 6 million of it goes to the jail. Maybe they can give another 500,000, maybe even $1 million. It doesn't matter. And then, so with that, they don't have it, then therefore we don't have it. And the only place it's going to come from, because the chair said about the political something, I can guarantee everybody, I will never run for another office. So I care nothing about politics, and I get to speak my mind clearly. So there's no hidden agenda with me. The agenda is the principle. Who is over here with this? So you've done that like 4 times. You want to come up to the lectern and tell us why? Well, I think that would fall under the umbrella of decorum. So the money is not there, but where it's going to come from is some half cents, 3/4 of a cent, 1 cent sales tax. We all know that. So, but what we cannot do is, because if we have a $5.8 million shortfall and then all of a sudden it drops to 4.3 million, then all of a sudden I'm saying, man, I got 1.5 million, I can go spend somewhere else. No, we can't. That doesn't happen. Are you gonna, here, Mr. Pettis, if you, because you're gonna read it, please, sir. And I'll move on after that's read. I just want to certainly give him time to do that.
This letter is dated February the 5th, 2026, and it is entitled Budget Board Members. Reference detention officers' raises. Dear Budget Board members, there seems to be a misunderstanding concerning the recent increases in starting salaries for detention officers employed by the Oklahoma County Detention Center. I am writing this letter to clarify what was presented at the January the 29th meeting with Oklahoma County Detention Center staff and the BET. It is true that Mr. Kim Ray has asked for pay raises for all staff of the detention center, which, if impacted, would result in an increase of the total raw payroll and benefits by approximately $3.4 million per year. But that was last year and not last week. His request at that time would bring employee salaries in line with current raises of Oklahoma County employees. Moreover, it would allow OCDC to be more competitive with other correction employees at various agencies in Oklahoma. While this plan is still needed to effectively optional staff levels at the detention center, it could not be carried out without funding from the county. What Mr. Kim Wright has done and stated during the most recent meeting of the budget evaluation team is to increase starting pay for positions of the detention officers from $41,508.60 per year to $47,000. This increase will result in an increase in the total payroll, including benefits by $238,950.02 for the FY. Mr. Kimbray consulted me, and though I believe he has the authority to do this without my approval, I do concur in approved. I am a true believer this will provide a variety of very positive and measurable benefits to OCDC operations. With warm regards, Jim Holman, Chairman of OCCJA. And again, this was dated February the 5th, 2026.
Thank you. And the indenture would have specified, I haven't read it lately, but it would have,
For clarification, the indenture states CEO.
there we go. That's it. CEO.
Not jail administrator. Let's get that clear. CEO, not jail administrator. The jail administrator is separate from the CEO.
And for those of you that don't know that, my fellow, my colleague, Steve Buck, who was formerly the chair, he was in full, that was certainly in his purview. At the time he was in that position, we agreed that there would be a separation of duties there. So Mr. Kimray is not the CEO, he is the jail administrator. Thank you so very much. I will move on.
We need a motion to approve the report.
Motion. Second.
Parliamentarian, are we approving or are we accepting?
Accepting.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, let's move on to number 4. Discussion and possible action to recognize employees with life-saving award. We're moving on.
Yes, sir. We didn't have time to get that information together, so we can remove that from the agenda, please.
Okay. Number 5, receive, accept, and discuss report regarding income statements, financial reports, and current budget for the Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Authority.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Hampton.
Thank you. We'll be going over the February 2026 income statement. Our revenue in February was $5,678,908. It was above budget by $2,441,077. This is due to the advanced monthly payment that we received in order to be able to pay our invoices. DOC's revenue of $217,530 was above budget by $102,530. We received payments for December and January boardings. Both payments we received in February. There were no payments received from municipalities boarding. Invoices for the executed Oklahoma City contract have been sent, and we are awaiting payment. As far as expenditures go, expenses were $3,818,065. They were over budget by $162,826. Our salaries, wages, and benefits were below budget by $86,775. As I've mentioned in meetings previously, we do use these savings to help pay for contract staff that is mentioned below. Our professional service medical fees were over budget by $82,254. That's due to contract medical staffing. Professional service other fees were above budget by $172,514. VHS contract staffing for the safety checks totaled $172,523. So in summary, the jail operations produced a net income of $1,860,843, again, mainly due to the advanced monthly payment from the county. Concerns or questions?
Mr. Chairman, I know sometimes you go over budget because of the number of people that were admitted. Why is the budget 1,300 for professional service? Maybe you said you addressed that. Why was the budget? The same thing with the one for professional service.
Not following you. Are you saying why we were over budget in those categories for professional service, medical fees, and other? So due to the short-staffed in for both site checkers and medical personnel, we use the payroll savings from those open vacancies for those positions to help fund the contract staff.
Any other questions, comments?
If we did have the staff, it is, of course, better for us to have the staff rather than contracting it. It saves a significant amount of money to have an employee rather than a contract employee. Anything else?
Do we have a motion to accept the report? We have a motion, second?
Second.
All in favor, aye. Opposed? Number 6, the discussion possible action to approve invoices and claims list for March 9th, 2026. List is available for inspection at the office of the Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Authority, Secretary, room 201. Motion?
Motion to approve claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 7, discussion possible action to approve service agreement with Johnson Controls Fire Protection LP for fire alarm and suppression system and equipment inspections. As requested by Mr. Kimmery.
Good afternoon. So that contract is for the annual inspections of the fire alarm, the vent hood, and fire extinguishers for the facility. It's an annual service that we have to be in compliance with. And that was previously done by East Cisco, which I think that they have got out of that contract, yes. This will save us more money on that end.
Any questions or discussion? Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Number 9, discussion possible action to approve updated joint defense agreement with the Board of County Commissioners of Oklahoma County. The agreement is previously was approved in 2022 and is updated to reflect new council. Did I miss 8?
Yes, sir.
I apologize.
Oh,
8,
that's probably something to discuss inside of executive session. And
I believe that's true.
Is that
Sorry,
correct, Aaron? Okay.
All right. So again, continuing with 9.
Yes, sir.
Discussion possible action to approve updated joint defense agreement with the DA.
This is something that we already have. This is just an update. Correct, Aaron? Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion approves. Receive, accept, and discuss reports or comments by trust chairman or vice chairman. I have none at the moment. If you don't, we'll move on. Number 11, report regarding meetings of Oklahoma County Justice Authority Citizens Advisory Board. Ms. Engelke, how are you?
Yes, I'm well. Good afternoon, everyone. A couple of things I'd like to cover with you all today. First and foremost, we had a wonderful focus group session a couple of weeks ago, probably the most participants yet. So want to acknowledge those that participated in those focus groups. It includes myself, Jim Holman, James Johnson, Derek Scobie, Jim Bryan, who is a prospective new CAB member, and then Melissa Walton, Executive Director of CJAC. So thank you to each of you for participating. So in our usual pattern, we met with both a men's pod and a women's pod. And I'm going to begin with an overview of the feedback from the men's pod. And I will say that in this round, we heard a number of new contributions, things that I had not previously heard from the focus group. So that was impactful to me. So first of all, when we asked the men what is going well, they indicated that they are grateful that they can make visits and requests on the kiosks after 4 p.m. now. When we were asked what areas could be improved, there was a lengthy list, so just hang tight for a moment. Again, they reference the fact that there's no tablets and continue to express a desire to have access to tablets. They did talk about the portion size of the food. I'm encouraged to hear some updates even today from our jail administrator. They talked about not having an opportunity to clean out their cells. They would like cleaning supplies in a designated day to clean out their own spaces. They did share that they are regularly out 4 times a week, 2 hours each time. They would like, we've heard this many, many times, but they would like the opportunity to be out on the weekends, in large part because they can't visit with their families. That's oftentimes when their families are available to have conversations with them, and so they're missing out on the chance to connect with their families. They talked a little bit about they'd like to be able to have more time to have access to their public defender or an attorney, their paid lawyers rather. They feel like it's difficult for them to be able to get an appointment scheduled with them. They feel uneasy about having to talk to their lawyers on a recorded phone line, that they just don't feel secure in doing so. They continue to express a genuine desire for programming that provides rehabilitation. There was a lot of conversation about recovery support as well as GED and diversion programming. They would really love physical activities and, again, personal visits with their families, as well as religious books. There was this last section in particular was really, I don't know, just fascinating, I guess. They talked a lot about just the need to feel confident in themselves, and a big part of that, and I can speak to this myself personally, not having access to a mirror to see how I'm looking would be devastating. And so, but we had a number of men who talked at length about how much they would like to have their hair cut. They would like to have products that are specific for Black hair. They did talk about there's a barber that is there, but he can cut hair, but he only has a maximum 5 minutes per pod. And there's a whole lot of men in one pod. I don't know how he can cut many men's hair in 5 minutes. So they did talk a lot about just a desire to feel more confident within themselves, and that begins with just hygiene, the ability to maybe shave, see how their hair's looking, and perhaps get a haircut. We did ask them about the interactions with staff, and again, they've said that there's some that are really great, and then there's some that are not so great. There's some staff that talk down to them, almost like they should be in jail, and so they're going to be treated as such. All right, moving on. We did talk about food, of course. They, of course, would like lower commissary prices. I asked, well, what do you normally order? Ramen was number 1. Coffee, tortillas, and lotion. Those are the top 4. They're very tired of bologna for breakfast. They would like to have some consistent fruit as well. Now, when they did complain about the cleanliness of the showers, we did, and James Johnson's always the first to do this. He does such a wonderful job of just making sure to validate what they're saying. And so we did take a look at all of the shower stalls, and indeed they appeared clean. Now, to be perfectly frank, I wouldn't want to shower in them, but they were clean. I mean, they're not great, but they were clean. Some of them had like some trash in there, perhaps just had not been, picked up. But other than that, they were clean. Moving on to the women's pod, we asked what is going well. One woman said that she has been in and out of the county jail many, many times for several years, and it was a lot better this time. It was a lot cleaner. She said that they let them keep disinfectant in their rooms, and they had never done that before. That they allow her and them to have more rec time. They had better meals. She said she was even so surprised at how much faster the booking process was, that they used to be held in booking forever, she said. They are out of their cells every day except Thursday and the weekends. When we asked what could be improved, again, there was reference to they liked books, reading materials of some sort. They had heard that there was a list of programs, but none had been offered, so I'm encouraged, again, to hear that that is going to be reinvigorated. They did talk, again, about the necessity of you got to have money in order to be able to call your families, and they don't love that. I asked about access to feminine products. They said that staff provides access to the toilet paper and feminine products. It's not always enough, but a big challenge is that some of the women misuse those products. Finally, we had one person who complained that they received old noodles from the kitchen. When we walked back to the elevator, though, we did look at a tray and saw that lunch was a noodle dish. So I don't know if they were old or not, but we did see that they had served those noodles that day. So I had mentioned the last time that I really think it's important for us to do more to interact with the staff. And so we did have an opportunity to visit with Staff Sergeant Tracy Cummings. She's been there for 3 years. And when I asked her, tell me about your experience, what has it been like? And I want to also preface this by saying that she serves on the 13th floor. And she said that visually, she can see a huge difference under the new leadership. She appreciates the work that has been done to just make the place cleaner, look more presentable. She spoke of the new vendors, such as the commissary. She does say honestly, the offerings to the residents are so much more expansive than they've ever been in the past. She did say that the old vendor did provide the pregnant women more fruit, and now they only receive peanut butter and jelly. So that, I thought that was worthy to note. She did say that they need more help on the 13th floor. She said 7 detention officers is really what would be necessary, and there's currently only 2 on the 13th floor. All right, I'm going to pause there for just a moment and give my colleagues an opportunity to add any additional notes or feedback from your time during our listening sessions.
Thank you, Aaron. And you do a phenomenal job with this, and thank you for reaching out or having whomever to reach out for me to go with you all. And your report spot on. One thing I will add, I don't think you were right there when they said it, because I think what'll get trickled down is about the 5 minutes on being able to cut in one pod.
Yeah.
What also they said was that the Clippers, they lose charge within about 4 or 5 cuts. So we were talking about that if there could be more of these clippers that are purchased. Clippers are not a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So for them to be purchased, because we know that typically men, obviously women too, but men, we don't feel typically very good if our hair is not cut.
Yeah.
So it, and I won't go into the rest of it. So, but what I also discovered is that the detention center looks so much better compared to when I was there before. Tim, he doesn't like me too much today. I don't like him either today. We'll be all right next week. So he is doing a phenomenal job with all the things that I am seeing, and his staff. But one thing, not a but it was a good but. So that was highlighted by one of the staff members, was about this young man sitting behind you. His name is John Parker. And they sung his praises as it relates to Stand Up with Diversion Hub. John Parker, a lot of you all don't know, we went to high school together. He was a good kid, and then he became a bad kid. And he was out in the world trying to, just say it because he's very public about this, trying to shoot people and all of that, and went to prison for a long time. Glenn Simmons, who spent 48.5 years in prison for the crime he didn't commit, took him under his wing, mentored him, and got all that hate and anger out of him. Now he can relate to those detainees that are in there, I mean, with some serious charges. They respect him and they want to hear from him. And when he doesn't come on Thursdays, which is just every blue moon, and thank you to Tim for allowing for him to be in there for many hours, but they just about lose their mind. I think that's kind of almost what the lady said, when he does not come. So thank you, John, for speaking into the minds and hearts of those young men who they think their whole life is over. And I'm sure you thought that about yours, but God did a work in your life. So thank you for allowing for me to see some things that I had not seen.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, for the trustees who have not been on as long as I have, this is the first time I'm hearing that the men said they wanted books. I brought tons of books from Rose for the women. Matter of fact, when I went there to get my ID made, I dropped off some books. This is the first time hearing of it, and that's fine. I'll talk to Lieutenant Ross. I'll drop off some more books for the men, but this is the first time I'm hearing this, along with the mirror.
I know.
Trust members know that we put mirrors on there when the women ask for it. This is the first time hearing it.
I know.
And we'll address this. We'll address this and so forth. And again, I echo what my colleagues have said about the job that Ms. Kimmer is doing. I was there today, and this is the menu. And I'm going to be there Wednesday for the fried rice. But they're hot breakfast now. That was one of the complaints all the time about having bologna. So it shows me here that they're doing that. So hot breakfast, hot lunch, and so forth. So again, and with the showers, as soon as I worked there, we had a sign saying your mom doesn't work here, so pick up behind yourself. What I saw were the packets of soap they left in there. So you get out of the shower, take your stuff with you. So as far as being dirty, I thought it was soap scum. It was the packets that they used. They were on the floor in the shower. So I just recommend that they pick up behind themselves, and that way it won't be that trash left in the shower. So overall, I mean, it seems to be improving, and they're doing a fantastic job. I'm really impressed, all joking aside, with the menu here, because I've heard that from the get-go. It's bologna. Right. So now we're having oatmeal and grits and so forth and sausage. So commend them. And I did see the new equipment that was purchased that's doing a good job. And something said about the food being old. When I was in the kitchen, I leaned up against one of the deals and almost burned myself because, I mean, the food was still hot from that they didn't serve it quite yet. So anyways, but again, we try to address those things. So my hats off to the staff. They're doing a fantastic job, and with limited resources. But again, I've seen a lot of improvement. And again, we'll bring books for the men as well. It's good they ought to be reading as well. But again, I just was taken back by that.
I know.
Said, I've never heard that from the men in the past, but we'll address that, and the same with the mirror. So
yeah, it just goes to show also the value of us continuing to show up and have these conversations and giving them the space, because it's new day, different set of people. It's important for us to hear from all of them. And as we've already stated, there's a whole lot that I had never heard, and I've been doing this for years now. So, and I'm always encouraged when I hear when changes are put into place that address some of these concerns. I do want to say that our next focus group will be Friday, March 27th at 2 p.m. I've already shared the dates and the details with Jim, so he will share that and remind you of that as well. But of course, any of you are welcome to accompany me and other members of the CAB. One other quick update: my vice chair Ferlin has been advocating at the Capitol level on behalf of all of us, quite frankly. He currently has a bill that would allow an individual who has been out on bond for a number of years to bypass the jail and go straight into the work center. And so this bill has been authored by Adam Pugh and Mike Osborne. It has been heard in the Public Safety Committee in the House and has been is being assigned to a committee in the Senate. So I just wanted to let you all know about that work that is taking place. Our next CAB meeting will be this Friday, March 13th at 11 a.m. Any questions or comments?
Just thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Aaron. Item number 12 is just to announce that our next regularly scheduled meeting will be on Monday, April 13th. Any thoughts or questions? And then I think it's time to adjourn to executive session if we could have a motion. Go ahead.
Withdraw.
I just want to make sure this is on the record, okay? Pastor, I apologize. No, let me, hang on. Because I know that you're as passionate, and I'm an old ex-middle linebacker, I get real passionate. I want to apologize, but I want you to understand one thing, everybody on this board. I'm committed to making the right changes and doing the right thing at the Oklahoma County Jail that hasn't been done before. And I've got the right people, I think, in the place now that is equally committed. And if they're not, I'll replace them. We want to make a difference. We want to make a difference. And I've told them this. They know it. And I tell it to them every week. We're going to make a difference. We're going to make some changes. I can assure everybody up here, there's not anything that I have done that has had, and as far as I know the chairman has done, has had any ill intent. None whatsoever. We're doing the best we can with what we got. We inherited a budget. That's not our budget we submitted. We're trying to spend the best we can. I'm trying to keep people there, though, too. That's such a challenge for us. But I want to apologize for my outburst a while ago. So I hope you accept it.
You already know that I do. That's why I said we didn't like each other a minute ago. We would
Well,
next week.
Derek, I told you starting off that I'm more willing to work with you when I took this job 6 months ago. All you got to do, anybody up here, all they got to do is pick the phone up, call
Every
me.
time
You
I
come
call
over,
you.
we'll drink some coffee, we'll work it out.
Every time I call you, I text you. Boom, you're Johnny on the spot. And I know you didn't mean I don't care because I bug you to life.
And that doesn't bother me though when you bug.
I bug you always by detainees. Here's what I do want to go on record and say also, because I know the media they're going to try to eat you alive and our chair. But let me go on record to the media. There is nothing that Kim Ray or Jim Holman did, and I know a lot of people disagree with me, that was unethical or immoral. They were trying to help their team. I get it. It's not like you took some money and put it in your pocket, okay? So as you all, media, you communicate what you do. Don't try to make it like they did something horrible. And I will just finally say this. If I was a coach and there was a way that I could do it to help my team, yeah, I would do it. Yeah, but you just gotta be. It's a way to do things.
I don't disagree,
and it just wasn't the right way. Okay,
duly noted. All right, thanks, Chairman.
Absolutely. We have a motion and a second. Did we vote? All in favor? Aye. Oh, it was withdrawn? Sorry. A motion to.
I'll second it. I push second.
Go push the button. There's not our, there it goes. It just changed. There we go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
He was anticipating Pastor Scobie. He didn't want to get thirsty.
Do we have a motion to come back to regular section?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 19,
18.
18, sorry.
Item 18, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to dismiss.
Do we have a second?
I'll second. Oh, just kidding.
All in
Second.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 19,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go back to item number 8.
okay.
I
Item number eight.
apologize. I apologize for interrupting. Mr. Holman, may I have your vote, please?
Well,
Hold on, he's not even in it. Yeah, he was out. He was out of the agenda.
What did I do with my? Yeah, we gotta go to 8 because.
we're going back to item 8.
There you go.
Thanks.
Good to go?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Chairman, on item 18, at the advice of legal counsel, item number 8 is to hire a, what am I looking for? Consultant and a expert. There we go. So motion to approve item number 8 with an amount up to $75,000.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we'll move to 19.
Mr. Scobie, may I have your vote, please? Thank you, sir.
Is there any other action that you need on item 19, or is it just a procedure as discussed? That was 18. This is 19. This was the one to, okay. Motion to proceed as discussed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll move on to 20.
Number 20, Mr. Chairman, is also a motion to proceed as discussed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 21.
Mr. Buck.
I got that as 22.
Oh, I'm sorry. 21 is a motion to proceed as discussed as well.
And a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Sorry.
Opposed? Now we're at 22.
Mr. Chair, I move to request that jail administrator Kimmery, in consultation with general counsel and others with expertise in budgetary management of governmental entities, to prepare financial documents outlining protocols and procedures to address any potential gaps in knowledge that we currently have relative to budget making decisions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain for my reasons. We're not going to beat the drum.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. And we can adjourn, I think. We need a motion for that.
Citizens.
I've been given no citizen participation. So we're adjourned.